18 or 21 dinner, so it's, yeah.
Okay, now this was,
Well,
Yeah.
what you had started there.
Yeah.
Topping on it.
really,
You sit outside?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's a fun little town. I've never been there before. Never been there before.
where is it?
Tullahoma, Tennessee, which is where he's
Oh.
from. So I was
Okay.
driving through there yesterday, and I said, where do I need to go? So here's my food critic for the day.
I sent him to lunch at one of our local establishments.
Well, is it a hole in the wall or is it a?
No, but kind of maybe.
A little bar food scene kind of place. I mean, I bet it's fun at night.
Oh, it is.
I asked the bartender, I said, where do you like to eat? I like Applebee's. I'm like, okay, we're good. So, nothing wrong with Applebee's, but I like to try local places.
Yeah, I'm not an Applebee's fan. So.
I told Dave later he can't make it. He's caught up on a job site or something, so he's unable to attend this evening. 1 minute, we'll start.
Do you think you could use the microphone system, because it's hard to hear? Or I can't hear real well.
I'll speak up.
Spoken people.
I'll speak up. It's 6 o'clock, so we'll get started. Are there any public comments this evening?
I could roll call first.
Doesn't matter.
What, roll call?
We can do roll call, sure.
Mr. Hall,
I am here.
Mr. Waller,
Present.
Ms. Ross.
Here.
Mr. Rowland is absent. Okay,
Public comments now?
I have one for Mr. Anglin. Ms. Ross, are you going to do it, or do you want me to?
And, about the,
About the bonds and the financial assurance? Did you get his email?
I did not see it.
Okay. It says, could either or both of you request once again a follow-up to my email below? So far, all I received was phase 1 response and nothing regarding phases 2 and 4. These documents are provided yearly to and from TDEC concerning the bonds required for closure and post-closure costs at Matlock Bend. All materials should be readily available in Mayor Bradshaw's office and or from TDEC Nashville or Knoxville. I would like to do this myself at tomorrow's meeting, but he was unable to attend. So he just wants a follow-up to this.
Do you have those?
They have not been sent from the state of Tennessee yet. The state of Tennessee is behind in their annual calculations of those. And we're waiting on them at several sites, and this is one of them.
Well, and I actually have told Rich this, and I talked to TDEC myself, got real deep into TDEC into the finance office, and they are well behind, and for 2023, they haven't even addressed the adjustment for inflation. And
Right.
They said they're gonna try to get to it before this year, but then there'll be another one in December or November to address 2024. So that they haven't been done. I told Rich that multiple times. I think he
They're
knows.
that far behind.
Yeah.
And that person that did those previously at TDEC took another job in TDEC, so there's a new person doing those jobs.
So she left, and then a gentleman took over, and the gentleman, I forget his name, he's the one I talked to. So
And we didn't even talk about that, we're on the same page.
I know.
Who is the person who, I mean, is it,
Is it some female who was in charge of adjusting closure and post-closure costs for landfills?
oh, okay.
She left, someone else took over, and they're playing catch-up. So, and he said there should have been one last November, December for 2023 that was not done. I asked him if one was gonna come for 2020, or for 2023. He said maybe, but they may just get to 2024 in November and December and catch up from there.
And this is the thing that's signed, that Buddy needs to sign for the insurance to,
Well, and we talked at length about that, and I also sent Rich a very detailed Excel, and I'll send it to you guys as well, that shows every document that's come out of TDEC regarding this. I don't know, he has everything he needs, and I don't know if he just doesn't know what he doesn't know. But the $9 million we got from them covers the closure costs plus 1 year of operations. Buddy has signed in lieu of bond or something saying the county's responsible for post-closure, and that's good in perpetuity. That does not have to be re-signed every year.
well, that was, I was talking to Art about it, and he was
Yeah.
saying that that's what he understood, that they got to the point where they were, because of the wording and everything, that it wasn't necessary and to be done annually. It's kind of just cast in stone.
For the post-closure bond that the mayor, it's not, it's a performance,
It's-
something, it's in lieu of a bond.
Lieu of performance bond.
Thank you, Ms. Hunter.
Yes, yes.
That is good until another one's signed.
Okay.
So they do not expire.
And even if the amounts change.
If the amount changes, then we'll update it. The mayor will
Oh,
kind of
okay.
do one to adjust that, yes.
And there's nothing I can do with my part of the performance bond with closure and current activities until the state of Tennessee does their annual inflation calculation. And then I'll adjust my part too.
The other thing that I have questions about, the, letter, from TDEC dated August 2nd and April 26th. Why are we just now getting it?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking the letter about, the, minor mod, about the recycled fiber derivative.
I don't believe they've brought it to us to discuss it yet, and here we are, and now we're having that discussion tonight.
Well, my question is, who's going to be monitoring this carefully? Is it going to be just Republic?
We'll get there in a minute.
Okay, and then the other comment that I have is in your minutes. There's a typo.
Okay?
It is page 2. I think 5th paragraph,
Which one?
5th. Chairman, Mr. Waller made comment on road complaints
Mm-hmm.
and also mentioned water reports interest raised by Miss Elizabeth Murphy. Not wrong.
Do I know?
That's been corrected.
Yeah, okay, yeah, this one, Ms. Elizabeth Murphy is going to work with Ms. Ross. That was corrected. That's
Is
in,
that correct?
yeah,
That's been corrected.
And who is she supposed to be?
Ms. Ross?
Ms. Roth, right?
Me.
Oh.
She and I are gonna work
Ross.
together on the,
Okay, so
Ross.
it's for Ross, not Ross.
right, yes.
Yeah, Pat, do you wanna, she caught all those, I believe, so.
Okay, I'll get it in a
Yeah,
minute.
actually, here's the next
That's
one.
the updated version. He
Right.
brought them tonight. Anything else?
No, I'd like to hear how complaints are gonna be addressed.
Yes.
It's on the agenda.
Brian's spouse is here.
Oh, perfect,
Yeah,
good,
Yeah,
good.
I'm speaking for Brian Byers because he's out of town.
He's at the beach.
Yes,
Why aren't you at the beach with him?
because I don't like to ride motorcycles that much.
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you.
So I'm like, okay, I'll go, I'll take notes, I'll do the best I can.
Public comments? Good? This-
Well, I know that he kept calling someone and they didn't call back.
It was him.
Him and I talked last week.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, him and I talked.
He was talking about previously.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure on that one.
Approval of the September 21st minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. No expenses tonight. Won't spend any money. Audit verbiage, still waiting on the purchasing department to reach out to the auditors and give us some options based on price, so.
So, I, believe it or not, I actually, have we written, is the audit language all settled and everything?
That's all done, yes.
That's all done? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because I actually found from 2017, I found for the verbiage that we used previously, so just,
If you want to send it to me, I'll happy to send it to Matt Kleinschmidt, but he has a list of 10 or so auditors
okay.
throughout Tennessee
And,
to ask for proposals from.
okay, this was for, what's his name? Let me see. Hill.
Richard Hill, yeah.
Richard Hill.
So
It's just one.
he has, I'll send that to, thank you for that, I'll send it to Matt and let
Okay,
him
give me
see
that. I
it.
got a digital deal.
Yeah, do that if you would, that'd
Okay,
be
sure,
easier,
sure.
so.
So are you getting RFQs?
Matt's working on that, I don't know what, RFQs, RFPs, I don't know what he's doing, but
No, but that's what you're talking about, audit verbiage.
yes, he has a whole list from TDEC of auditors to pick from. So that's purchasing department. That's what they do. 10-year report update.
Actually, we were going to mention tonight is that we've got some, Tim Hendricks said he would give us some names of engineers that we could talk to.
Okay.
But what we need, and Gary's trying to make these arrangements to talk to the procurement office first.
Okay.
And so, the Loose Design, Geosyntex Consultants, CEC,
Which is who does.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, and we probably won't choose them.
They're big
Well, I
operation out of
know, but-
Pittsburgh. So I mean, that's,
I know, but S&ME and the Professional Environmental Consulting are the ones that he,
will help draft the 10-year plan.
yes,
Okay.
we're drafting that.
And when you say procurement officer, are you talking about county purchasing office?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I have calls into
Yeah.
director, I forgot what.
Matt
his
Kleinschmidt.
class was.
Well, he's the one that's also working on the auditors. So good luck.
Buddy told me he definitely would get with me, so
He will. It's just yeah.
I'll keep pushing him.
We're still getting complaints about mud on the road, and Elizabeth and I talked a bit about it, and we're not the operators, so we need to figure out some kind of system for Republic to receive those complaints and address them internally, versus calling me, calling Dave. When Pat was on here calling Pat, so we need a centralized location for complaints. So how can we set up an email address or a phone line and have it posted somewhere? And we'll put it on the solid waste website as well. So what's the best way for the actual operators of the landfill to receive complaints and work through those?
I think all complaints should come directly to me, and I'd be happy to provide my email and my phone number, and we can post that, and they can call me directly.
Okay, and then I would like to get a weekly, bi-weekly, we'll play it by ear, maybe bi-weekly to start and see what we get, just so we all can see what complaints are coming in. Is that
And
fair?
the response.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely,
Because
yeah.
I think, and also, because I think responding quickly is always kind of helpful. So, not just what you did, but when, would be kind
Yeah,
of
I like
taking
that
care of
idea a
people.
lot, yeah.
Yeah. When we do get complaints, they're addressed immediately, but I personally have not heard any complaints.
Do you have a business card? This is gonna be Brian's best friend right here. But if we just have a running Excel of when complaints come in, time, what the issue was and how it
Thank you.
was addressed, that'd be a great living document to have. And just send it to us. Let's just do weekly, and then maybe bump back to bi-weekly. Yeah. And I know as we get complaints, we'll see what the issue is, and maybe we can figure out how to fine tune the cleaning of the trucks a little bit more coming off the landfill. So,
I was, I forget the name of the highway, it was down by, what is it? Is it Green Meadow? Is that the name of the landfill down?
Meadow
west-
Branch.
Meadow Branch,
In
west of
Athens?
Athens, yeah.
Meadow
on
Branch.
30. And driving through there, and you know, it's been dry and everything. We're not the only one with mud on the road problems. It's pretty substantial down there. We look pretty good compared to,
Even it being so dry?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
that's what I was wondering. I was like, how's it dirty? I mean, it's dry. So,
so,
And it's just because trucks coming out of the driveway, is that right? Is that-
yeah. That doesn't make it, you know, it doesn't make it good. It
Right,
just
right.
makes it,
Just makes it-
it's a,
It's a hard thing to,
you good?
long as I got the information, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Waller, the contract specifies how complaints are supposed to be handled. There's supposed to be something on at the landfill where it tells people how they can file a complaint. And Republic is supposed to bring the complaints monthly. That's been in the 2007 contract.
David, I'll talk about that tomorrow. Gas collection, I'll send an email about this. And I know it's in the Part 2 application because Monty's a reading machine and Dave read it. I guess we're not to the size yet to be collecting gas. Where are,
I'll have you a formal email for the next meeting.
that's fine. And then are we just halfway there? Like, where are we? Like, when we get closer to being fully, full landfill, will we be there? Will we ever be there? Just.
I'll have to let Mike speak to that. That's
Okay.
not specifically me, but we'll have that email for you, the group,
Okay, that's fine.
either at or before the next meeting.
But it is addressed in the Part 2.
Yes.
So, and I found the 2014 and 2019 testing and emissions estimates reports. And so it says it has to be done every 5 years. So it looks to me like did we pay for this testing, or did Santec? I don't know.
I don't know.
But because it was, let's see.
I would assume the operator paid for it, but that's just an assumption.
Okay, so it was Robert Hudden.
What testing are you referring to?
It's Tier 2 testing and NMOC emission estimates report. And there was one in 2014 that I didn't bring, and then that's the letter from 2019, and they pretty much say the same thing, that we're not at the threshold yet to be a concern.
You do quarterly or semi-annual vent testing, gas sampling?
I believe it's quarterly.
Do we get those reports?
You should.
Yeah.
So when Mike brings that back, and then want to put it in writing, that's fine, but I'd like an understanding of, from Republic's perspective, what kind of materials create gas problems for other landfills? I mean, you guys know. And are we subject to that? And, is it a certain amount of sludge in the
You haven't taken enough.
Is it just sheer quantity? What drives a landfill to get to the point where there has to be gas?
Decomposition of the material
So,
But
is what creates the gas.
so any biological waste comes
Would
from
help.
that
With
decomposition.
so when you address it, is it just the quantity that we have is not sufficient, generating a sufficient amount of gas to be a problem? And then the next question would be, well, if we expand the landfill, does that issue get worse, more significant? So is there a future issue, I think, is what we're struggling with, with the expansions.
I'll send this report that I found from 2019. I just found it late today, so I can tell you.
Research machine. Have you and water monitoring, have you and Elizabeth talked about water monitoring at all? I know she's been busy, and I know you've been really
Yeah.
busy too, so.
Yeah, we have not, but I'm thinking somewhere in here is the water monitoring report. Is that right? The 250-page
Yeah.
thing that you sent to me? Yeah, so. I'm on it.
When it gets cold, you build a fire, you can have something to read and have a fire.
Yeah, I have my cocktail and have.
Mr. Hall, I know we discussed an engineer to kind of oversee our interests throughout the expansion. Have you?
I haven't pursued it. Monty recommended.
And we got a while, because the permit's
Yeah.
still a ways off, so.
Monty recommended we consider geotech services,
that-
Bacchus.
Yes, Bacchus. He's very familiar with, there was a breach, a landslide in 2010. And TDEC required that there be a causal analysis done. And he actually did that. And I have that, that's the one I think I got that to you. And so he's very familiar with the landfill. And so he probably would be a good person to talk to. I did call him today, and left a voicemail, but I didn't hear back from him, so I don't
Okay.
know. But I'll leave that to you
Well, and they're, again,
to talk to him.
9 months out before any dirt's even moved-ish, so I mean, we got time here.
Dr. Bacchus is widely recognized as a national treasure when it comes to landfills and engineering at landfills.
Okay, so,
That means he's expensive.
well, and he means that he knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So,
Um,
yeah, he's got all sorts of papers. You can see all of this.
Huh.
Yeah.
Part two, I know that it's an amount of paperwork, we're still going through that, and if there's any questions we have,
Um,
and it may be better for Mike next month, I don't know, but just if we have any questions or things we want to address in the part to modify the application, we're able to do that.
Well, I really am glad that you sent me the one that you sent to me, because
Yeah.
it's like 500 pages less that I'm actually going through to see exactly what's in there, and I'm on page like 1,000. So, and there'll be because there's some pages some things in there from 1993, Llewellyn and Associates, that from permeability data, and I'm just going, is that, it surprised me, because I thought, would that really apply when we're talking about an expansion, would that change? And I don't know this. So, but I will, and then there were some figures that I let a friend look over, and he had some questions about it, and that's why what I want to do is, he's retired, so I want to just give him the paper and just say, hey, when you're on your free time, if you could look over this. So I'm going to wait and I get this to him, and we'll see. But this Mr. Haynes, that answered your letter, Lou.
Are we moving on to the alternative daily?
No, I'm just,
Okay.
when I talked to him about, he said, yes, he said, if you have, it takes 270 days to do the technical report, to check it. And there's some geologists that will be looking at it. And he said, anytime you have something that you see a concern anywhere, he said, let us know, we'll pass it along to them. And so there's opportunities that we can get to if questions come up.
Alternative daily coverage. So that should be, is in your packet. It's also, he passed out a copy of it here.
Sent out a rather thorough email for me regarding the possibility of an ADC, an alternative daily cover, at the Loudon landfill for one of the materials that comes from Kimberly-Clark, the recycled paper, recycled fiber derivative material. This material has been produced for a long time at Kimberly-Clark. It's been going down the road for years to Athens. Athens is not able to use it right now as an ADC. Athens is using it right now as a solidification agent for their solidification process. And the reason Athens is doing that right now is because of some of the opportunities that landfill has had, and TDEC is making them cover with soil, so they can't use the ADC material.
And when you say, explain that comment, the opportunities, what do you mean? What happened? What happened?
I'm trying to use the word opportunity in a positive way.
I know, but I'd like to know what you mean.
How do you mean?
Opportunity,
Why isn't Athens allowed to use this ADC
Right.
currently?
Because they've had
a lot of odor issues down there, haven't
yes. And I'm not real pleasant talking about my competitor, but
Well-
they've had their issues over the last few years.
so the 80s, but we don't, and they were using this
Yes.
material, and they were having odor issues.
Odor and, yes.
Okay, well, we don't,
Was that a contributor? Was the ADC
Right.
a contributor to the
No,
odor?
I think, no, but no. There was a lot of things going on at that landfill.
I mean, yes, I understand that Los Alamos is not his mine. So, but that, as long as it wasn't the cause of the problem.
Were they using it as ADC at one point in time down there?
Yes.
Will that, will using that as an ADC affect the gas output at all?
No. We'll use it through the week.
Okay,
We can't use it on weekend or holidays for a daily cover when we're having to cover for over 24 hours.
okay,
That would have to be soil.
okay.
Some of the positives that would come from this, as explained in the email, it will be a local company using the local landfill. It is approved as an ADC through both Kimberly-Clark and at the Loudon landfill as an ADC.
By TDEC.
By TDEC.
By TDEC.
And one of the pluses of this material coming to the Loudon landfill from the commission's potential point of view is using that material on a daily basis through the week as an ADC would cover your 25% reduction
On our recycle side.
on your
Yes, oh,
recycle
yeah,
side.
I know. So how, is it moist, is there any moisture in
This
that?
is virtually a dry material.
It's a dry material,
Yes.
because when the breach happened in 2010.
Those were different materials.
Okay, that was, but it was because the sludge was too high water.
Those were very wet materials that were coming to the landfill at that time.
Will this do anything, is this considered a special waste? Or will it do anything in terms of affecting the leachate or? Okay.
And the other plus, and I know this has been a concern for this commission, the borrow area would not be used as much because this material would be used through the week as the cover material.
Is there any way to get just curiosity's killing the cat, how much soil that'll save on an annual basis? I mean,
Yes, that calculation is available.
I would just be curious how much you guys are using for for daily covers now at the borrow pit, how much that would save.
Now, that calculation would be available.
So you haven't been using this at all in the past, or no?
No, we have not.
Okay, because the one letter from April 26th kind of gives an indication that this is a recertification for this landfill, which gives me raises question that if it's a recertification for approval to continue to use, means that it could have been being used in the past.
No,
So that wasn't clear.
Probably not in the last at least 8 to 10 years.
Okay, so then the August 2nd letter says that's a 90-day governance for a trial period.
Right.
So what, have you put together any type of trial plan for this, or?
No.
Is there intention to do that, and when would that be?
We are negotiating with Kimberly-Clark right now, and if we negotiate a rate that we think is good for all parties, we'll come to you for approval at the November meeting.
That would have how many tons you're talking about?
200 tons a day.
200 a day?
200 tons a day?
Yes.
Upwards of 8,800, right, is what you're being allowed.
So
Now,
soil,
you said there's nothing with leachate, but I read something in here, if it's left exposed, and that it does have to be contained and into your leachate.
Oh, everything would be covered, everything would be on the lined area of the landfill. Nothing would not be on the unlined areas.
Does Kimberly-Clark have a report of what this is exactly?
Yeah.
Okay. Just bring that to us in November, send it to us when you get it, just
Okay.
out of,
so it's
Due diligence.
is it de-inked paper, or is it?
I don't know that. I'll send all the analytical information. We've got that.
So this,
The internal approval's already been done at Republic, so.
so
and
will
by
this,
TDEC, obviously.
Yes.
so will this then take, or reduce the amount of, because you're using tire, shredded tire and stuff for daily, mixed in with your daily cover too right now, right?
I think, I don't want to speak for Teresa, but if I speak incorrectly, you tell me. I think there was an intention there, but I don't think the tires have worked as well as we thought they might.
I don't
No,
think,
it was supposed to be a beneficial reuse.
It's supposed to be probably shredded better than they're being
They're not,
shredded.
yeah,
They're being chopped, they're not being shredded.
chopped is a perfect word.
Yeah, well, I saw them, they're chopped tires, they're nothing close to shredded, but I was wondering how you could be using those in a daily cover.
No, it's not, the tires did not work as we would have, as you said, chopped.
Yeah, okay.
So when you put this over, it's fiber, so it would decompose, wouldn't it decompose in the landfill at some?
Yes,
Through time, and soil would not,
right.
so, so that,
But as an overnight cover,
It has to get
if
buried.
that's, okay, it would just be.
If I read this correct, it's overnight and then you
Okay.
have to basically bury it in
Yeah.
the
And,
landfill.
okay,
it'll just get buried into the landfill as part of the next day's operating procedure.
So it goes down just to make sure the dirt or the trash doesn't fly away overnight.
over.
Correct,
And then at the end of the week, a dirt cap's put on
Yes.
top of it. Gotcha.
or on a holiday.
So the 90-day approval, is that a test period or what does that mean?
I think it would be considered a test period, but we would probably consider it to be a live start.
Might be appropriate to ask Lou as to what would he be looking for related to this approval if we started using it? What would be his triggers for consideration of extending it or not extending it? These are eyes and ears on this thing, I guess.
Yeah, when I was talking about, when I was talking to Tim today, you know, I mentioned this, and I said, okay, what do you know about this? And he was very supportive of its use. He said it, Tim Hendrick at ETAD.
Okay.
And so, I mean, that's, he'd heard of its use before, and he said, I'm no expert on it, but I've heard that it's been used and been successfully used, so.
I'll take an action, talk to Haynes,
Yeah, I guess
get his perspective.
the question
on it.
is,
He's
you know, a
signatory on
90-day
this.
period, I guess the question is, from my perspective, is what's the failure modes that you've got to be monitoring or checking that could cause TDEC to come back and say, you got a problem?
Yeah, I understand that question. I think we'd probably be looking at it from the other point of view of the positives that it would be providing and the negatives. We'd have to look to the manager as what it's doing positive and what it's doing negatively.
Yeah, I'm not saying negatively, the fact is if there's a problem, if there's a potential for them to come in here and do an inspection, they find something, they say, okay, you gotta stop using it. What are those elements that you have to be prepared part of your plan to make sure that doesn't happen? Let me rephrase it that way. I don't see it as a negative necessarily, but with everything you're putting in there, there's usually gotta be something to contain it or do the right thing so you don't have a problem that comes
Right.
back. That's kind of where
This is not a new material, this is a known commodity. So that there are pluses to it. TDEC has seen this material, dealt with this material, and they know what it is.
Well, I got that from there, so I'm just, it's more of curiosity
Right.
for our sake, so we know what, you know,
He
what
should be
we're
able to give
doing.
us some insight on Athens too.
Well, send us whatever it is, a report from Kimberly Clark, what it is. You talk to Kimberly Clark and we'll address this in November.
Okay.
Any other questions about that?
So one of the elements of this is a reduced rate for Kimberly Clark
Yes.
for disposal of that material. So I guess we need to look at the contract for that. Do you have a sense of where that might, is it like half of the
I'll
governmental rate or?
I'll need to let Caroline negotiate and then come back to you with what that is. I don't wanna put out anything that I don't know what it might be.
Send us that info, you talk to them, we'll re-adjourn
Yes, sir.
here in November. Want to go through this shindig for us? I know there was some misrepresented sludge that's already been addressed in the system. I believe it came from Anderson County.
No, it's coded as Anderson County.
Right.
Some of the loads came from Loudon, and some of them came from the other community, again, just getting miscoded. She's had a lot of turnover in her scale house right now, and we're getting it worked out, but I did go back. When I saw that, there's ways I can go in our system and verify what is what and this, and I did go back and they're Loudon County, and the other one is the community that comes in. So we're,
Just nip that one in the bud. So yeah, if you wanna go through this for us real quick.
Well, can I just ask you a quick question? on this?
absolutely.
Okay, so when some sludge comes in on a, you know, from a business that picks up waste, do you know, I mean, do they tell you, is that on the manifest, that this sludge comes from, you know where it comes from?
Sludge is a category of waste called special waste,
Mhm.
defined by TDEC.
Okay.
And defined by Republic.
Okay.
There's the process of that material being allowed to come in the landfill, there's an approval by TDEC and there's an approval by Republic. And then when the Republic approval gets done, there's a specific number that gets put on a manifest so that that material can be tracked when it comes in and when it goes to the back of the landfill. No unapproved special wastes knowingly come in the landfill.
And they have to know who to bill, so when it gets coming in, they know who they're gonna be charging for that waste coming in.
Keep up with it that way.
Everything normal as per usual. It is the end of a quarter, so there are some quarterly reports, both generated by myself and TDEC at the end of the document, right before the Loudon financial information. The inspection was provided a few minutes ago because it did not get sent out as it usually gets sent out. The inspection just had one AOC on it. And Teresa can speak to that if need be, and then anything else in this package I can speak to or Teresa can speak to.
What are you doing to fix that AOC?
That's actually been resolved. We're getting ready for our fall seeding, so that was, whatever he saw has been
Oh.
addressed.
So is it erosion or something, or?
Erosion.
Oh, yeah. I think you talked about that last time.
I think she does have one piece of event waste coming in, out of Von Orr right now.
And what is that?
Let me get to it. It's more of an excess material. It's on the original, on the origin report. And the quarterly reports, tires, all the normal presentation material.
Hey, oh, go ahead.
So you get tires in, and sometimes you get a lot of tires, like from Matlocks, you get a bunch of tires. And then those go to Liberty, when does that,
Liberty and Knoxville.
okay, and do they buy them? Do they just take them, or what?
We pay for them. We pay for them
To
to
take
on
them,
the site.
take them, okay. The reason why I'm asking is because Jim Cox was talking about the tires that they give Liberty from the Blount County, Blount County. They have those, they're shredded. And then, Gary, didn't he say he bought that shredded tire material back?
Well, yeah, they're working with
They put it in their asphalt?
well, he's over the highway
Yeah.
department.
Right.
And they're working with the highway department that way. I've raised that with our highway
okay.
department head.
Okay,
And he was gonna actually be getting with Jim,
okay,
I think about a week ago.
okay.
And I raised that, and I also talked to him about the glass situation and that, so.
Excellent, okay.
It might be something we want to approach our county commission, is looking at responsibilities for some of that stuff. Because
Well,
if it helps cut the cost of highway material, which they're
Oh,
doing
yeah.
significantly.
Right,
It might be something for us to look at.
yeah, and so, and.
Yeah, which was interesting, because the glass they're using, they're replacing almost 100% of their aggregate
They don't-
in highway construction with glass.
Yeah, they don't need
And
aggregate anymore. They're
that's
not, they're using up their
around all-
aggregate and they're not gonna use it
Yeah,
anymore.
like your beds and all your piping and that, they're basically using glass, which is approved by TDEC, and then and then the rubber, they're getting that back after being, in putting so much, they can put so much into their asphalt and that.
That's fascinating because glass is basically worthless as a recycled material.
Right,
now.
exactly.
Hmm.
And he's
And they-
using it,
They've got a machine, they've got enough, they probably can take almost everything in eastern Tennessee.
Yeah.
With how many tons of glass they can take.
yeah.
And they
he's-
grind it up into, basically into aggregate
brought
sizes.
I'll bring the example,
Yeah.
sample.
It's
next
it's
time.
fascinating. I mean,
Yeah, it really is good. And I met someone, I can't think of her name, but I met someone from Telgo Village who, was very interested in maybe us talking to the POA to talk about, having a dumpster set up or something
Yeah.
in Telgo Village, and so,
But it increased, what he said, it increased their landfill, which is, I think, bigger than here. They definitely got more going into it, but increased the life of their landfill by 10 years so
Yeah.
far.
Wow.
so, lucky guy, y'all will be around for a while.
Anything else from the reports? Action items that I have is a digital copy of the auditor paperwork that you had from 2017. You're gonna send that to us?
Yes.
Can you send us the last bid report that we get quarterly? Because I'm not sure I've seen that.
Well, I'm sorry, the what?
What's that report you asked for, quarterly with gases or something, the bench report or whatever it was called?
Okay, yes.
Yes, he knows. And then you're gonna send us the 2019
Yes.
gas report. Is there anything else that needs to be handled?
Well, I did want to, I was going to, did you talk to, are we gonna talk to Elizabeth later, or?
We discussed the options, so if we want to do anything, then we'll bring her on board to help with that.
Oh, okay.
So,
Because I just wanted to, I have copies of, that I just want to put in our minutes. It's exhibits, it's the letter from the mayors to Buddy about.
I don't need it.
No, right. And so, I just felt like there would be, if somebody was trying to find that letter, they would have a hard time finding it because you have to go to Buddy's secretary to get a copy of it. And I think we can make it an exhibit in our minutes that this was sent out to the county commissioners, and now, and I also wanted to let you know that I did give a presentation to Committee 100 on what happened, and I want you to understand, I talked from the perspective of being a Loudon County citizen. I did not say this was that I was speaking for this commission, and I just felt like y'all needed to know that, because I didn't know what your position was. So it was not from, as a commissioner. Just to let you know that I did that. So. And I talked, Riley Wampler did talk to Bob Bowman, and he said exhibits are required to be associated with minutes.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Let's go home. Good job. Thank y'all. I saw in the paper where